Smarter ADI with ACOM Solutions. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Sam McHale, and I have with me here Glenn Pagel, one of our senior EDI consultants. In the next 3 minutes here, we want to walk you through one of the most powerful features about the ACOM EDI software solution. The ACOM EDI system makes EDI process more efficient and smarter than your traditional EDI. We're going to focus our discussion in the next 2 or 3 minutes here on our visual process designer. What you see on the screen here is a drag and drop design tool that would allow you to pretty much design your own process from the receipt of an EDI file to what rules need to be applied to the translation to any email notification. The process we're showing on the screen here is a multi-step, a lot more complicated than a simple receipt of a file, but it just showcases you the power and how advanced you can take that business process designer and add to it. So for the sake of the demo, just keep this simple. We're going to kind of walk you through a really simple receipt of an inbound 850, translating it, creating a flat file for integration, and embedding some rules for email notification. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Glenn, and Glenn will walk us through this simple demonstration. Glenn?
All right, thank you, Sam. All right, so we've started setting up a job. So when I first set up a new job, I simply start out with a start box or start button, if you will. When I look at some of the details behind the button, I've got a server that I'm going to run this job on. I've got a directory or a folder that I'm going to watch. I have a couple of options to run this job with. I can run it as an event-driven, which essentially means I'm going to sit on a file on a directory, and as soon as I see a file, I'm going to begin translation. The other option is I can have it scheduled. So oftentimes for database processes, I want to run this on a schedule. I want it to run 7 days a week, every hour on the hour, querying my databases, looking for data to translate. So this is my process of initiation. A couple of ways to schedule it. I've got email notifications. If I'm managing by exception, I really only want to send out emails based on errors in translation. So I'll set this up in more detail. This is a summary level for the job. I've got another layer here, which is a process component. So when I'm actually translating the data, I want that kind of detail to be processed through and sent to me in a log file. I can turn on a variety of detail, whether it's all trace detail, errors, warnings, messages. I can configure the logging that I want to maintain. I can also configure the size of the log file because we don't want to overburden our email server. If I want to send this in an email, I don't want that log to be too big for my email notification to get out through email. So I'm going to have a variety of setup features and functionality here. And once I've set that up, I can then go ahead and start translating my components. I've got a translation component out here that is going to go ahead and identify my input path. This is the data directory that I'm sourcing my EDI data from. I'm going to translate that into my output path here. My output path identifies my flat file directory for the output to go into. I'm going to back that up. I can back it up or not. I've got options here whether I want to back up the files that I create. I'm going to archive that input, and I've got a few other directories for, if I have an error in translation, I got a directory for errors. So I can set up these directories. These are standard directories for processing the files that come in. A login, again, like I described earlier, I can turn on or off detail based on the kind of log I want to maintain. Usually when I start up a translation component, I want detail logs at first. I can turn off some of these things later. Login, of course, will slow down translation, so if I'm looking, speed is very important. I would want to go ahead and turn off a lot of that detail that I don't necessarily need to see. And then when I'm managing by exception, of course, I'll handle those detail logs later when I need that component. So I've got my process set up. Last is the email notifications that I want to set up, and I'll drag out an email component. Inside an email component, I have, again, I'm going to turn off my send on always, and I want to manage by exception. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my support email notification for a translation that has failed, and I want to go ahead and embed in here in subject. But better yet, I've got some templates, and again, from a different demo, we would have showed you how to set up email templates. So this gives me my error message, the job status, and then the file name that I was processing. I'm going to attach the log file that's created from the translation showing the details of the error, and I'm going to put that into my email. I'll save that. I'll go ahead and post this into my job setup. So I've got my 3-stage components, and I've got the start box that starts the job on the schedule. I got the translation component that translates that EDI document into a flat file into the output directory, and then email notifications if the job should fail. I'll get an email notification. Otherwise, if I don't have a notification set up to always send me something, this job will run in the background in a 24/7 environment and translate data without sending out any email, unless of course it fails. Okay, Sam, back to you.
Thanks, Glenn. This was fantastic. So again, the purpose of this very short and concise demo is to really show you that the ACOM EDI software is a different type of EDI solution. This brings a lot more efficiency, a lot more intelligence into the EDI process than your traditional solutions out there. And that's one of the things that set us apart from many of the other competitors. There are many solutions that can simply translate from one format to the other. What makes the ACOM solution very different and very unique are all these built-in features to automate the process, to make it more efficient. And one word that Glenn repeated a number of times is the ability to manage by exception. I mean, the reason companies implement EDI systems is to automate the process. So the last thing you want to do is get an EDI system that requires a lot of babysitting and a lot of manual process. So that's one of the big things that we implemented within the Easy Connect, and you can see it throughout the process. There's a lot of built-in automation and a lot of integrated email notification to ensure that the system can manage itself and can let the appropriate people know in case there's any errors or any issues. We hope this gave you a good glimpse about the solution. We look forward to hear from you with your specific process and challenges, and we'll be happy to provide some technical expertise and recommendations in regard to how to best tackle your EDI challenges, and simply walk you through a similar, more in-depth demo to what we showed you today, but that pertain to your specific needs and requirements. Thanks for taking the time to review our demo today, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Thanks, Glenn.